Hi, Scorpio. Welcome to your April 2022 Astro Update. It's Raina here. So, there's a lot of energy in Pisces in April. And being that Pisces is a fellow water sign, this is significant. But one thing I love about this for you is that it's in such a positive, fun place. The fifth house is a house of love. So it's very romantic, and it's also the house of creativity. It deals with children. But in general, we could say it's a house of pleasure. So it can be anything that you enjoy doing that is aside from work. You know, people do enjoy work as well, at least some people. But, you know, your hobbies, your sports that you like, or whatever it is that, you know, your entertainment. So you could be seeing yourself doing a lot more of these things because we already have Jupiter in this house since December and at another time in 2021. So Jupiter is there, and there's going to be a wonderful conjunction between Jupiter and Neptune in this area on the 12th of April. I believe it's at 24 degrees of Pisces, but don't quote me on that. And so Pisces, Neptune has been here for about a decade. Neptune in the fifth house can mean that if you have been single within the past decade, that you may have experienced some kind of love interest who was a Pisces or is a Pisces if you're still dating this person. This is the house of dating and falling in love. So it's not the commitment phase, which would be the seventh house, but it's love in general. This can also be a very idealistic attitude towards love. However, it can also be a situation where you may encounter one or more love interests who are not what they seem, who are deceptive, who are, in some cases, they could have some kind of mental illness or drug addiction, or, substance abuse issue. And, and that's the other side of Neptune. But there is a positive side that's very idealistic. It could be a soulmate type of energy. And you feel this sense of spiritual connection. And it could be a literal Pisces individual. And that kind of person would be compatible with you because, on paper at least, let's say that. But another thing is that this could be very inspirational for artists, for Scorpios who are artists, because Neptune can be very, very imaginative and also otherworldly, and it makes for great spiritual arts in particular. So I like to do things chronologically. On the first of the month, we have a new moon at 11 degrees of Aries. And so this is a very it's not really business-like. It's a very organized, down-to-earth area, the sixth house for you. That's what Aries represents for you, Scorpio. And so a new moon here could mean a new job. You could be changing your schedule where you're adopting a new schedule. So if you work, let's say you work in a factory or someplace where there are different shifts, you might be going on the night shift instead of working during the day. Or, even if you worked at a university, you might be teaching at night instead of the day, or the day instead of night. Or you could be embarking upon a new health regimen and a new diet. That can be the sixth house too. On the 5th of the month, Venus goes into that fifth house. So Venus until the 5th is in the fourth house of home and family, and it could be something to do with beautifying your home, gaining money from real estate matters, and getting money from your mother. Then when it goes into that fifth house, that can be some kind of romantic situation, because Venus is the goddess of love and beauty. It can be art appreciation. Maybe you're, if you know somebody who's an artist, you're going to their gallery all the time. I don't know. Something along those lines. Maybe if you are an artist, you're finally making a profit. Venus can bring money into the house where she travels. On the 14th, Mars goes into Pisces. Mars in the fifth house can have a very lusty influence, because the fifth house can be recreational sex. Mars is one of your rulers, and maybe that's why the eighth house is associated with sex. I always thought it was Pluto, your co-ruler. But it sounds like it might be because of the Mars influence. Mars can be the libido, and the fifth house can be recreational sex, although I think a typical Scorpio person doesn't play that and is much more serious when it comes to those matters. But maybe you will take a detour. I don't know. It can just, this is great for competitive sports. I just said before that the fifth house can be sports, and you may be doing it on a competitive level, but you just may be doing more things, going to parties, going to concerts, and just active, doing your art. On the 16th, we have a full moon at 26 degrees of Libra. Libra is a sign right before you, Scorpio, so this is going to be in your 12th house. A full moon in the 12th house is very mystical. 12th house is the dream state. So a full moon here, if you already have an active dream life, hold on to your hat, because it might be even more intense. You might have an experience where you have a prophetic dream. And by prophecy, it can even mean something that is, I'm not just talking about, maybe I shouldn't say it like that, predicting some kind of future event, but maybe tapping into another dimension. Because the 12th house can be the spiritual dimensions, and or past lives, that too. But this can also be about letting go of a bad habit. The 12th house is the house of self-undoing, and bad habits are a big part of that. So it can be letting go of things that no longer serve you, that are tripping you up. On the 19th, the sun goes into Taurus, and that is your opposite sign, Scorpio. So we're talking about 7th house matters. Uranus is in that 7th house, and I will get to Uranus in a minute because there's going to be some interesting developments there. On the 29th, Mercury goes into Gemini, and so this is your 8th house, and this is the house that you rule in astrology. So Mercury in the 8th can have you studying something metaphysical. Astrology can fit into that category. The tarot can fit into that category. And you're just probing the depths of life, the secrets of the universe. Maybe you're getting more psychic. Maybe you're aligned with, deeper stuff. Maybe you're kind of doing shadow work, and you're thinking about all the things that you need to purge from your life. On the same day, Neptune goes retrograde in that 5th house. So a Neptune retrograde can bring a reality check, because Neptune is very fantasy laden. So Scorpio, if you're in love with somebody, or you think you might be interested in somebody, something may come up that is a reality check about who they really are, what they're really about. Now, if they're really just misrepresenting themselves, then you're dodging a bullet. If if you had some kind of wild fantasy about someone and they're just a regular mere mortal, that's not necessarily a bad thing. That can mean that you're the one that is buying a clue. I mean, not trying to be rude, but if you've been kind of in la la land, you're going to see this person in a realistic light. Well, that's okay, if as long as it's something that is good. I mean, if it's like realistic and finding out that they have a bad temper or something, that might not be something to pursue. But if it's simply that you were overly idealistic, then it can benefit you. And then on the 30th, that solar eclipse in Taurus, that could be quite important for you in terms of relationship issues, because this can either bring awareness, like at a very deep level, it's kind of like when you shine a flashlight on something and you can see it, every detail of it. And this could be a committed relationship. If you're in a committed relationship, if you're not in a committed relationship, what it can do is show your attitudes towards it. So maybe you have trust issues, and even though you've had people in your life that were potential partners, you either sabotage the relationship in some way, or you just kind of, I guess you'd call it sabotage too, if you just were indifferent or you kind of kept aloof for some reason. So maybe that's what that Mercury in the eighth house is all about, is kind of doing that psychological analysis of your motivations too. But the solar eclipse can even bring opportunities to you as it pertains to long-term relationships or committed partnerships. It's not to say that you're going to get one that day, but you might meet somebody even before this actual date, and maybe up to a month and a half afterwards or so, that ends up being a partner. Remember that the North Node is transiting this house, so that is in alignment with the eclipses, the North and South nodes, and that can really point to somebody who is your destiny in terms of a life partner. So you have to be open to it, though, Scorpio. That's the only thing. The seventh house is also the house of legal affairs. So if there's something that is, really developing with this issue, then that might be kind of the catalyst for it. But it's also public relations. The month of April is a great time to launch things. So if you have something and you need to promote yourself, this could be, the window of opportunity I think is actually until about the 27th or so. So the 30th is slightly after that, but I still think that it's you could certainly do it. It's not like there's any. I think that because Neptune goes retrograde on the 29th, but Neptune is not a personal planet, so it's not. I don't think that it will affect people personally if they launch something, but it's just that up until that point, all the planets were direct. That's basically what that meant. But I think you could still do something. But it's only that during eclipses, the energy is very unstable. And some people say, oh, yeah, you can't do anything around the day. But it's to me, it's new moon on steroids, so I think it's wonderful still. So, if you need to promote yourself, you may find that it's easier to do so around this time. Okay, Scorpio, that's what I have for you. I hope that this resonated. If you would like a private reading, I am promoting my double readings because they're a special price, and it's an hour of natal chart analysis and an hour of upcoming transits for the next 12 months. That's called my deep dive reading, and I have other readings on my website, rainamoonAstrology.com. The link is below. Take care. Bye.